And whoa, overfill. It's a boy. Well, for this episode, thought we'd talk about the Honda Goldwing for a bit, and I'm here with our security unit, Piper, and you, honey.
Yeah, she looks ferocious.
I know. So maybe we can get this episode going.
All right. So today's topic is you've reached a milestone on miles with the Honda Goldwing. Did you want to start to talk about that?
Yeah, we're real close to 2,800 miles, and we're taking the bike to Florida in December as well. So I know 2,800 miles doesn't sound like a lot, but we've got two bikes. We've got our Rocket, which is really close to 10,000 miles, and our Goldwing. And a lot of our weekend plans did not work out this past year with COVID and weather conditions, and also too having to work. So thought we'd talk about the bike before we take it down to Florida.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how the Goldwing handles on like the highway?
Really good. It's a confidence-inspiring bike on the highway, to be honest with you. Once you get your comfort on the seat, the bike is magic. Really nice at 90 miles an hour, as a matter of fact. Not that I do that.
Yeah, you don't want to attract the cops with this.
Oh, no, never. But I haven't been on a better highway bike, right? And there's a lot of good highway bikes out there, right? Harleys are really good highway bikes, but for some reason, with this double wishbone front suspension technology they use on the bike, it's just really super smooth and nice on the highway. It's nice. I wouldn't want to be on anything else on a long highway trip, I can tell you that. But that being said, Triumph did a great job with the Rocket 3 GT. I want you guys to know that this bike is also great on the highway, and you can adjust the suspension on the Rocket 3 GT to ride very soft.
So aesthetically, the bikes look very different, right? Like you have one bike that looks much more like a muscle car, maybe a muscle bike.
Yeah.
And then one that is more geared towards, selfishly passenger comfort and maybe a little bit different in the way that it's styled. But what are your thoughts on the differences between the two bikes' handle on the expressway?
Yeah, I would say they're equal, literally equal. Now, I'm not talking about you're up there riding and you got the throttle open, you're blasting along. I think they're very close on handling. I give them both like a 9.2 on a scale of 10 for handling. The Rocket is winning with its wider tires, which is better for handling, and the Honda Goldwing here is winning with its suspension technology, and also too how well integrated this V6 is with the chassis on the Honda. I think it's the best motorcycle engine you can get.
Better than that one?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a great motor too. This one feels more like a car engine, right? And this one here is just so smooth, right? That's a great engine too, but I think the Honda motorcycle company, Honda Power Sports, makes the best motorcycle engines across the board. I'm not a Honda fanboy, but this is just so smooth, and it sounds like a jet engine when you start it, and it's just really nice.
Although I don't think it's not very loud. Neither bike is very loud.
No, bikes don't need to be loud. It goes back and forth, loud pipes save lives, but I don't mind a quiet bike. That's what your horn is for. And when you're riding a motorcycle, you should be vigilant and observant and use your horn if you need to, or put yourself in positions of less danger, highway or side roads.
Okay, let me ask you a question about weight distribution. Both bikes are quite heavy. I think the Honda is probably heavier than the Triumph, right?
Yep.
So how is it different weight-wise when you're riding it? Like, do you feel the 800 pounds more on the Triumph or on the Honda? Or is it basically the same?
No, there's a big difference. This bike here, dry weight is 640 pounds, and it feels like a super light bike to me. The way they integrated your seating, it doesn't feel like a 640 pound bike. This bike here, dry weight, is 833 pounds. Obviously much heavier. Both bikes I ride loaded up as well. So I would say on the Honda Goldwing, you know, being able to ride a large motorcycle, the Honda Goldwing 6-speed manual is a great place to start because it only weighs 833 pounds compared to a lot of large bikes that are heavier than that, including the DCT version. So if you're just starting out riding and you're starting with a large bike, which is not recommended, I would start with this bike, to be honest with you, for riding if you're insisting on getting a large bike as your first bike, because it's only 833 pounds and it's got the manual. But you have to get comfortable on this, and once you're comfortable, it's not an issue all the way.
Okay. What about for passengers? I mean, I've been on the back of both bikes, so I know what it is from my experience. But as the driver, if you add a passenger to, let's start with the Rocket, how does that change the dynamics of how you drive?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question, honey. You can preload the suspension on this bike. There's settings for passenger. You can select the setting with passenger and luggage, which is what I ride with when you're on the bike. The electronics on this bike help with the suspension preload and some of the effects of carrying extra.
You're talking about the Honda, right?
Yes, I am. And now this bike here does have a manually adjustable suspension.
Which bike? This?
The Rocket,
The
yes.
Rocket? Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's no preload adjustment you can make unless you make it manually on the Rocket. So when it's set up like this, it's fine. But when I'm carrying a tent off the back of the bike, I can really tell a huge difference. And
What about a person?
Person, not so much, but when I mount a tent off the very back of the bike, that 70 pounds really makes a difference with the chassis dynamics. So I think this bike here behind me, the Goldwing, rides better loaded up than this bike does.
So when you're on the Triumph and I'm on the back of the Triumph, maybe I should ask it this way. Is riding with a passenger different than riding by yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Passengers, if they make a move with their body, I'm sure you guys
I know you're always telling me not to wiggle my butt.
Right, there you go. That's a good example, wiggling your butt in a turn on, if you're a passenger, can make the turn very exciting. So I guess if it's just you and me on this bike, it's fine. It's still a great bike to ride, but I have found hanging a heavy tent or hanging a lot of weight off the back of the bike on the Rocket really does change the chassis dynamics a lot.
Okay. And so what advice would you have, because I know being a passenger on a bike, you're just on the back of the bike, you have no control over anything, right?
Yep.
So I think it's important that before you become a passenger on a bike, before someone says, hey, let me take you for a ride, that you as a passenger understand how much experience the person has with the bike that they have. Is it a new bike for them? How many years have they actually been on riding a motorcycle? How much experience do they have before a passenger gets on the back? What is your advice to people who might be asked to go for a motorcycle ride?
Never go without your helmet on, passenger or rider. I had a situation years and years ago. My neighbor shot across the street. He had his girlfriend with shorts on the back of his street bike, and her leg here had already been burned once, and she was a beautiful looking girl. And I guess ladies out there, don't get mad at me, but if a guy wants to put you on the back of his motorcycle in shorts and no helmet, don't ever do it. I still remember her and the burn on her leg, which she's got to live with now for the rest of her life. And if a guy will put you on the back of the bike and you're not dressed properly, at least with long jeans and a helmet, think about if they really care about you. I really feel strongly about that. And it's the same way even in a car. If you jump in a car with a guy and he drives aggressively with you in the car, that's not a good sign. So same thing on a bike. I would say, you know, if a guy wants to show you his bike and take you for a ride, that's great. But if he's going to put you on the bike without a helmet and without jeans on, for example, don't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I never get on the bike without a helmet.
Right, right. I want to say one thing though. This bike is too easy to ride without a helmet.
I wouldn't know.
Well, the wind management here is like so good, right? I know it's small. It's a smaller fairing than the Goldwing it replaced, but it's actually I have ridden this without a helmet once or twice for local quick trips, and it's
Against my advice.
against your advice, and I'm a knucklehead for doing that. But this
Because
bike,
what do I always call people who ride a motorcycle without a helmet? Organ donors.
organ, yeah, organ donors. Yep. Well, Teresa's 100% correct on that, so I got to stop doing that.
All right. So I know you said that you're almost at 2,800 miles on the bike, and that's what we originally started to talk about
Oh,
until
yeah.
I derailed the conversation.
No, it's fine.
But what else do you want to say about the beauty behind you?
Well, so it's just a real pleasure to own and ride. You know, it's got a 6-speed manual, does not have the DCT, and I'm pretty quick on this bike in tour mode. You might be pretty shocked. I can roll through those gears and get some really good acceleration without winding anything out. You know, there's a debate that the DCT is quicker than the manual. If you're a good rider, there should be no debate. I don't touch sport mode. I'm fine in tour mode. I don't use econ mode. You know, it's a motorcycle. I'm averaging like 47 miles to the gallon or something like that with this in tour mode. I'm not going to use econ mode. I don't like the retarded throttle, and I think you need to have good throttle engagement when you're riding, so I stay away from econ mode. And rain mode's fine too. Excellent bike, very well put together. Keeping it clean is a breeze, and I'm very grateful that we got it when we did in terms of price. And of course, it's going to Florida with us, so Theresa can have some really good comfort if she rides with me in Florida. So I've really had no major issues with the bike. The oil change we did, we have an earlier video on that, really made a big difference. I'll change the oil again here in the spring 2022 before winter or before spring ends, and it's just a really nice bike, you know. I like having that trunk for the extra capacity, and like I always tell people, I have the link for Jerry Palladino's ride of a 6-speed Goldwing like this one. You know, that's really all you need. You'll save a few bucks too on your Goldwing purchase. So just a really nice bike, and you know, you got to have patience when you work on one.
Okay. All right. Well, I can see that head of security is hard at work.
Yeah, I put her on guarding my iced tea. Piper's been making a really nice recovery from her surgery, and really appreciate you guys watching this channel, hitting like and subscribe. It helps us out, and we personally, Theresa, Piper, and I love to do these things and share some of our motorcycle experiences with everyone. If you haven't noticed by now, we're very sincere people, and we try to be authentic. So we're not trying to be posers on YouTube with anything we put out there, and we're not fans of the poser channels. And past all that, really appreciate you being here for this episode. We'll see everybody next episode. Keep burning down the road. Don't quit. Life can throw challenges. Until next time, salute.